Hi, my name is Paul Hendricks. Today I will be talking to you about the U.S. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, or FCPA. This act includes laws that regulate American companies who are doing business outside the United States. First, let's talk about the history of the FCPA. The FCPA was put into law in 1977. At that time, there were a couple of things going on that fueled the making and passing of this law and these regulations. The first was American companies that were admitting that they had given bribes to foreign nations amounting to hundreds of millions of dollars. For example, Lockheed Martin paying different nations such as Japan for their foreign contracts. The second was the Watergate scandal. With that scandal, there were the public lost faith in the moral compass of the business people and leaders of our nation, which is why they put in the FCPA. And you might be asking yourself, what does the FCPA include? There are two different parts to the FCPA. The first part includes laws against American businesses bribing foreign officials to win their government contracts or to get into the country at all for doing business in that country. The second part includes laws on reporting transparency requirements. For example, audits and control processes that make it easier for the SEC or other lawmakers or people to find those accounting discrepancies that are with those American companies. So let's take a look at what the effects, or some of the effects that the FCPA has had on American businesses. First, let's focus on the positive. It has helped companies to be forced into having higher moral standards. Because they are no longer allowed to give bribes or receive bribes, this just helps companies be more honest and moral in their dealings. Because of the FCPA, some nations have also trusted the American companies more than non-American companies, because they know there are regulations they have to live by. And this was crucial after the act was made, so that countries could again gain trust in the countries gain trust in the American companies that were going there to do business. The third positive effect is that the American companies, in order to compete, have had to work harder and make better processes and products to make the nations who are still receiving bribes basically not be able to pass up the better products that the American companies were offering or are offering. Some of the negative effects are that it puts the American companies at a disadvantage compared to the other nations who don't have regulations, especially in nations that are less developed, because they are more corrupt and work more on a bribe system. But because we cannot do that, that puts us at a larger disadvantage to those countries or companies from outside of the United States. Another negative is that it has made it harder for American companies to give contributions to other countries in need because of the money that has to travel to government agencies when they're in need of aid. American companies are less likely to do that now because they do not want to be seen as giving bribes to that country or giving unneeded aid. Recently there have been laws passed that have helped to strengthen the FCPA. The most recent was the Dodd-Frank Act, put into law in 2010, and that has helped employees be able to blow the whistle on companies that are not keeping the FCPA laws, and also made them write even more detailed reports, especially for companies in Africa who are doing business there that are making payments toward nations. A more detailed report on what those payments really are. In conclusion, FCPA has been a moral fight that continues to this day. But as American companies embrace the law and those throughout the world, they improve their processes and competitive edge. And I agree with the FCPA. I know it has its flaws, but I believe that it is better for the business world and business people.